What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where every single Monday right here on the show, I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the content that I watch on the WWE Network. Now, as I've been talking about for the past couple of weeks right here on the show, I will be reviewing Total Bellas Season 2. Season 1 I did watch, I did not review. It's all available on the network, so maybe at some point down the road, I'll rewatch it and review it here for the show. There's only 6 episodes. Season 2 is now currently halfway over. Episode 4 just aired, which I'll be talking about right now, Power Struggle. And now there's 8 episodes in total. It wraps up at the end of the month. And then I think Season 7 of Total Divas, if I'm not mistaken, kicks off right after that. So we might just continue on with reviews of Total Divas after Total Bellas wraps up in a few weeks. But nonetheless, let's get to Season 2, Episode 4, Power Struggle here today. We kick off the show with John Cena, Nikki Bella, and JJ drinking wine. Nikki Bella prepares for her promo on Miz TV that we saw a snippet of at the end of last week's episode, where she interrupted The Miz and Maurice on Miz TV to kick off their WrestleMania feud. Nikki Bella does admit there's natural beef there between her and Maurice, which was talked about in Season 6 of Total Divas. And it's been online for years now. It's been pretty common knowledge for a long time. But she does acknowledge it here. She doesn't really go into much more detail than that. But she does acknowledge there is some real-life heat there with her and Maurice. I'm sure everything has since smoothed over. But it did make that feud all the more engaging and compelling, knowing there was some, underlying sense of heat there between Maurice and Nikki Bella. Anyway, so they talk about the WrestleMania match being made official for WrestleMania by the on-air general manager of SmackDown Live, Daniel Bryan, obviously the brother-in-law of Nikki Bella. John Cena says that he's proud of Nikki. So we go from there with Mama Bella to John Laurinaitis, talking about their sex life with JJ and Lauren. For what reason, I have no idea. I would not want to put any son or daughter through that horror of hearing their parents talk about their sex life. And I guess that's kind of one of the themes of this episode, that John Laurinaitis and Mama Bella continue to talk about it, and Nikki and Brie and JJ do not want to hear any of it, and I cannot blame them for that. That's just pure disgusting. Anyway, so Brie talks to her lawyers about who would be the legal guardians of Birdie Joe, but they only call her Birdie right now, but her name would go on to become Birdie Joe. I don't know how it got to that point. I guess we'll find out in the remainder of the season. But anyway, so she talks to her lawyers about what would happen to Birdie, assuming anything happened to Brie or Brian. Like, who would get custody of Birdie? Who would get custody of their child? And she can't choose between Nikki and then Brie or JJ and Lauren, because Nikki would be a great mother, she admits, but John doesn't want kids. So how would that work out? If he doesn't want kids of his own, why would he want kids of someone else's to hang on to? Although Nikki would be a great mother, she just doesn't think it would be a great fit. Whereas with JJ and Lauren, now you think they would be the easy choice, and she would make a choice later on in the episode. But it's also tough with them because although they would make great parents, and they currently are parents with Vivian, that they are having some marital issues right now, and we don't even know if they're going to be together at the point by the time that Birdie is that she's out into the world, that she's that Brie has given birth. So we're not even sure if they're going to be together by that point. So Brie has some decisions to make in that respect. Brie, Nikki, and Mama Bella go bra shopping. Once again, Mama Bella very inappropriate with some sex talk and shit like that Brie and Nikki do not want to hear any of. Nikki contemplates the 5-year anniversary gift that she's going to get John Cena. Now, by this point, they've been together for 5 years. What's she going to do for their anniversary? She doesn't know. 5 years is a big thing. And all the while, she's discussing the potential gift options with Mama Bella. Brie's making fun of her. She's kind of like being a bitch about it. She's like, for 5 years, I would hope that he's getting you a ring, or, that he would marry you. And obviously, by this point, they would go on to John Cena proposing to Nikki at WrestleMania. That's what the whole season is building toward, as well as Birdie being born. But by this point, she doesn't know that. So, she's just making her feel bad by saying that kind of shit. So, Brie, that's not a good thing to say. Anyway, so we go out to dinner. The entire family, JJ, Lauren, Nikki, Cena, Brie, Brian, Mama Bella, John Laurinaitis, all 8 of them. And I think Vivian might be there too. But pretty much everyone of the Total Divas or Total Bellas cast goes out to dinner together. They talk about wills, they talk about powers of attorneys and stuff like that. John Cena says that he would not want to make that choice to pull the plug for Nikki. So, henceforth, he does not want to be Nikki's power of attorney. Because if it came down to it and Nikki could not make a decision for herself, if she was in a a vegetative state, bringing back memories of the whole Undertaker storyline from many years ago. If she was in a vegetative state and she was a vegetable, she would want John to make the decision. And she obviously, Nikki has no idea what any of this stuff means. So they're trying to explain to her, which is why this is important, because she doesn't have a will and she doesn't have a power of attorney if anything was to happen to her. But anyway, Cena said that he would not want to be the one to make that choice for Nikki. At that point, JJ and Lauren said that they would give, assuming anything happened, that their power of attorney or in their will or whatever, Vivian would go to Brian and Brie, which is a good choice. And then Nikki said that she would not want to be John Cena's power of attorney, that she would want to be, that she would hope that she would be on the list, but John says that she is not. So let me clarify. I might have confused myself there. That Nikki says, okay, so if you're not going to be my power of attorney, does that mean I will be your power of attorney instead? And he says, no, you're not even on the list. Chris Jericho pun insert here. But he says, that's confidential. I'm not going to tell you. So she goes on and on and on about this. No interviews are interspliced during this point. So we get the whole car conversation when Nikki and John leave dinner to talk about their wills and power of attorneys and stuff like that. There's no, quick cuts to interviews with John Cena, or there's never any interviews with John Cena, but with Brie or Nikki or whoever. It's just one long, uncomfortable scene of Nikki asking John, who would be your power of attorney? And he says, it's confidential. I can't tell you. Do you not know what that word means? I don't think he said that, but that's essentially what he's saying, because he said confidential at least a dozen times, saying that he would not tell Nikki who his power of attorney is. So Nikki gets offended, seeing that if despite the fact not only will they not be together forever as a married couple by this point, she doesn't know that he's eventually going to propose to her, but assuming that they're together forever regardless, that she doesn't even get a choice, and she doesn't know who would get that choice, she feels offended. And I can kind of understand where she's coming from. And John's rationale is that he would not want to put that burden on Nikki, because he has seen what it's done to people. Henceforth, he doesn't want to have that burden on himself. If Nikki was also in a vegetative state, he would not want to make that decision either. So neither John or Nikki are going to be the other's power of attorney, is what we pretty much learn in that scene. Mama Bella brings up the sex life again in front of the twins. They celebrate on the party bus. I think they're doing something for Brie's wedding, or they're doing some. I don't know why they're on a party bus, but they just go partying, I think in Vegas, and then they go celebrate on some party bus. Anyway, so Brie does a photo shoot. Brian's at SmackDown, so he can't make it. She does say to JJ and Lauren, who do make it to the photo shoot, that they would be the legal guardians of Birdie if anything was ever to happen to Brie or Brian. And they're flattered, and they were asking, what was Nikki's reaction? And Brie says, well, I haven't exactly told Nikki yet. And of course, when JJ's with Nikki soon after, JJ brings it up to Nikki before Brie can bring it up to Nikki, which obviously offends her. But anyway, during that point, he is with Nikki because he brings her to a funeral home to see how she would want her body to be handled, whether it be buried or cremated or whatever. Kind of going off the will stuff that she would put in her will and the power of attorney and stuff like that. So it's being buried versus cremation. JJ tells Nikki that Brie made the decision about who would be the legal guardian, and that it's him and Lauren, not Nikki. So Nikki's obviously kind of pissed off that Brie didn't tell her first. Anyway, Mama Bella and John Laurinaitis, after Nikki confronts them for them to be her power of attorney, they say no. They also have the same mindset as John Cena, that they do not want that burden. Specifically, Mama Bella. She doesn't want that burden. John Cena has this whole idea of having a body pod idea where you become a tree after you die, I guess was his whole thing. He won't be buried, he won't be cremated, but his body will become a tree or something like that. So, I don't know. That's his idea, and apparently Nikki's on board with it too. So Nikki confronts Brie about her decision, about who the legal guardians would be. Brie says that she will not change her decision until John changes his mind about kids. Which, again, makes sense. If John Cena does not want kids of his own, why would he want anyone else's kid? Assuming if anything was to go wrong, if anything bad was to happen, which it won't. I mean, but you never know, and it's always important to have this stuff in the back of your mind in case that it does. But Brie makes a very good point. Now, Brie probably should have told Nikki first before that she told JJ or Lauren about them being the legal guardians. But her logic very much makes sense. That why would she, I know Nikki would be a great mom, and Brie realizes that too, but why would she give her kid to Nikki and John if John Cena does not want kids. It doesn't make sense. So anyway, JJ does tell Nikki, they're hanging out in the hot tub to close out the episode, that John Cena, when they were talking at dinner, like I think in episode 1 or 2 a few weeks ago, JJ admits to Nikki that John admitted to him that he has changed his mind on marriage. Not that he would marry Nikki, but that she has since changed his mind on marriage after many, many years, which makes her happy and makes her think maybe there is a chance we might get married after all. So that closes out the episode on a happy note after a lot of serious talk. Again, one of the more straightforward, less bullshit episodes in recent memory. I mean, all the episodes have some scripted nature to them. That's the nature of reality TV. But this one has a lot of serious talk in it, and it gets pretty intense at certain points, but I thought it was a good, enjoyable episode overall. So check it out. I think on the E! Network, they air the old episodes of Total Bellas before the new ones on Wednesday nights. So I think this episode will be airing this Wednesday before the new episode airs at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and then that makes this one airing at, that would mean this one will be airing at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on Wednesday night on the E! Network. So anyway, guys, that is Season 2, Episode 4 of Total Bellas entitled Power Struggle. Thank you for checking out the review, listening, whatever. I appreciate it. I will be back next Wednesday with another review of Total Bellas. Also, meanwhile, on the WWE Network, there's really not much else to review that I would be talking about here. I mean, like new content-wise, which I usually talk about here on WWE Network and Chill, which is why I've been talking about Total Bellas, because there's really not much new on the network. They've had story time the last couple of weeks, which is always great. That's always enjoyable. Not really a show I can review, but it is good. I would recommend checking it out. And also, they had a documentary go up on Under Blaze last week. Now, I heard no one talk about this. I just saw it in the VOD section on the network under original specials or something like that on Under Blaze. Now, I thought it was like some video or some documentary they've already done. They're just throwing it up there as old content, but I think it's relatively new. So I haven't seen anyone talk about it. I haven't had the time to watch it yet, and when I do, maybe I'll do an additional episode of WWE Network and Chill in between the Total Bellas episode reviews. Maybe later on this week, we'll see. But keep an eye out for that on the network. That looks like it could be good. Anyway, guys, be sure to like the video, share the video, subscribe, and be sure to drop a comment as well with your thoughts on the episode. So like I said, we'll be back next Monday with another all-new review of Total Bellas right here on WWE Network and Chill. Until then, guys, have a great rest of your week. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.